Hello and welcome again to Not Fake News. I have an article by Deborah Hine. ABC apologizes for fake news after being caught deceptively editing quote about Sean Spicer during a press secretary briefing. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer calls on a reporter during a daily briefing at the White House in Washington on January 24th, 2017. Spicer answered questions about Dakota pipeline, infrastructure, jobs, and other topics. ABC, always broadcasting crap, News apologized late Tuesday after being caught deceptively editing a quote from former George W. Bush press secretary Ari Fleischer during the Monday night edition of Nightline. ABC editor Fleischer's words to make it look like he was being more critical of White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer in a taped interview than he actually was. They edited it. That's not good. Nightline quoted Fleischer as saying, "Spicer's briefing made me uncomfortable. It was too truculent, too tough. It looks as if all ball was dropped on Saturday." But that is not what Fleischer meant to convey at all. The point he was trying to make was actually complimentary of Spicer. He posted a series of tweets complaining about always broadcasting crap's duplicity Tuesday morning, prompting the network's apology. Ari Fleischer at Nightline proves Spicer right about MSM's dedication to negativity. Here is what I told them in a taped interview on 1/4. Is there a thing? I was just thinking maybe, And, yeah. So, all right, let me just read these. Proves these right. 1/4. Ari Fleischer, it looks to me as if the ball was dropped on Saturday. Sean recovered and it ran for the first down on Monday, 2-4. When the press distorts someone's quote and twists their words, we have a problem. 5-5. And if this is how the press reports, Trump is right to go after them. 4-4. ABC issued the following apology Tuesday evening. Nightline aired a segment Monday night before the first 3 days of the new administration, including Sean Spicer's statement on the press to the press on Saturday. As part of the report, we interviewed former White House Press Secretary Ari Fleischer. In editing the piece for air, his quote was shortened, and as a result, his opinions mischaracterized. We are fixing the piece online to include his full quote and context. We apologize and regret the error. Has anyone at Always Broadcasting Crap's been reprimanded? ? Has anyone? Because that wasn't an innocent error. It was a calculated attempt to put the Trump White House in its worst possible light, which we keep seeing the mainstream media do over and over again. If they don't like being called the hashtag fake news media, maybe they should stop engaging in hashtag fake news tactics. Just a thought. I really like that one. Another fake news from the mainstream media. Good job, guys. Let me see, is there anything else I got for you? Yes, there is. More hysteria over ICE sweeps of illegal aliens in California by Rick Moran. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials arrest foreign nationals during a targeted enforcement operation named at immigration fugitives, re-entrants, and at-large criminal aliens in Los Angeles. For the most of last week, immigration enforcement agents carried out routine operations to detain and deport illegal aliens. But there is nothing routine about America in the age of Donald Trump. After a few businesses and homes were raided, illegal alien advocates sent out panic emails warning about immigration enforcement officials rounding up those in the country illegally, most of whom had criminal records and had already been ordered to deport from the U.S. According to the Pew Research, there are about 1.4 million illegals in Southern California. The 5-day ICE raids netted exactly 160 of them. This is hardly a roundup or a sweep, but the hysteria ginned up by illegal immigration advocates caused widespread panic in illegal communities and generated protests against the inhumane policy. The email made no mention of President Trump or his plan to target for deportation a wide swath of millions of people in the country illegally, but to many people already on edge, a connection seemed clear. Within the hour, scores of protesters had gathered downtown, blocking traffic while angrily denouncing the president. Elected officials followed suit, expressing outrage at Trump and demanding answers about the raids. Authorities in Mexico put out a warning to their citizens living in the U.S. How is this for an answer? The law will be enforced. If you are received due process and are ordered out of the country, one way or another, you're headed home. Our initial declining to release details, ICE officials on Friday announced that the agency had in fact concluded a week-long operation throughout Southern California that resulted in the arrest of more than 150 people. The agency insisted, however, that the sweep targeted between the criminals and was no different in size or scope from operations carried out in the years past under previous administrations. In immigrant communities across Southern California, the arrest capped a week of anxiety. Anxiety. So again, in immigrant communities across Southern California, the arrest caped a week of anxiety as they waited for Trump's promised crackdown. In addition to the federal immigration action, the communities were rattled by widespread false reports. Just like the story I told you before. On social media of non-existent raids and police checkpoints aimed at deporting non-citizens. It wasn't about that, deporting non-citizens or raids, but it was a fake false story. The situation also left police, politicians, and immigration advocates trying to calibrate the right response for elected officials in the state who are largely opposed to Trump. It's been about finding the middle ground, and that allows them to condemn both the president's hardline stance on immigration and criminals in the country illegally. All right. Meanwhile, local law enforcement scrambled to tap down the hysteria with some blaming in the immigration rights advocate for crying wolf and heightening fears. But that's true. That's what they're doing. Law enforcement is right about that. Stop scaring my community, said Santa Paula Police Chief Stephen McLean. That is a great right there. Stop scaring my community. Like that. Right? That's the title, I think. Who described activist claims of a raid in the city as okay. Stop scaring my community, said Chief Stephen McLean, who described activist claims of a raid in his city as false. Now, I've got to go ahead and calm people's fears. Plus, to handle the hysteria and the riots. The group that is first sounded the alarm, Coalition for Humane Immigrants' Rights of Los Angeles, or CHIRLA, doubled down on its account Friday, saying that the arrest portend a new reality under Trump for immigrants in the United States illegally. You're damn right it does. It's the dawn of a new day, is what he's saying. Other civil liberty groups took a less stringent tact, expressing concerns about the lack of information surrounding the arrest, while also noting that they had criticized the Obama administration, which deported large numbers of people focusing on those with criminal histories. Usually focusing on those with criminal histories. What's the argument? What can you possibly say? They're criminals. They're here illegally, which makes them a criminal. But that's not what they mean by criminals. They mean committing a crime on top of being here illegal. Like that's what we're talking about. So why shouldn't they go home? Why shouldn't they be reprimanded? Why shouldn't they be punished? Why do these activists want us to line up and wait to become a crime victim of someone who has no business being here in the first place? The illogic of their advocacy to allow criminal aliens to remain in the U.S. is beyond belief. The idiocy of the open borders crowd never ceases to amaze. And that's just another way to say what I was just saying. Thanks for watching. Comment below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And if you like what we're doing here at Not Fake News, please like our video. I appreciate that. See you next time at Not Fake News.